Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's review is the fifth installment in an iconic horror franchise that has lasted over 25 years. Given that it's one of my favourite film series ever, I was interested in seeing how this one would play out. So this is Kier's Reviews, and this is my review of Scream.
Hey Sid, it's me.
Dewey? Oh my God, how are you?
Sid, it's happening again.
Some idiot in a ghost face mask. 3 attacks so far.
Something about this one just feels different. Do you have a gun?
I'm Sydney Prescott, of course I have a gun.
Scream, or Scream 5 as I like to call it so as not to be confused with the title of the masterful original, is the newest addition to one of my favourite horror franchises of all time. This is the first Scream film to not have Wes Craven as the director, given that he passed away 7 years ago. Now, to helm the 5th chapter of this epic saga, the directors of my all-time favourite horror film Ready or Not, Matt Bettinelli, Olpin, and Tyler Gillett, take over to extend and pass on Craven's legacy to an even more modern era in which Wes began in Scream 4. This honours the original film wonderfully and proves to be one of the best sequels of the entire franchise. Even though Scream 4 had a great kill count, this outing has the most creative and brutal variety of kills. While it may feel at first that this treads familiar territory with its iconic opening scene, the entire plot and character development felt like it progressed extremely well, as it didn't turn out to be your typical Scream sequel plotline. It felt like the previous movies were very predictable, except for the final reveals of who the killer was, but this took an extra step further to make sure that this was still an exciting sequel to fans with twists, and that fans were going to love it.
There's a psycho out there. You make yourself harder to find. Delete social media, tape over your phone camera, disable GPS.
Yes, thank you very much, Edward Snowden. Actually, your mother just interrogated me, which was very fun.
I'm sure she's asking everybody. I mean, Ghostface is back.
The press still isn't saying Ghostface.
My mom was the one who caused a panic.
They look it out by the second or third killing.
To see the original Legacy cast return once again, feeling as if they'd never left us, was awesome to see. By keeping all of the stock characters that fans have loved since 1996, it gave this movie more room to introduce new characters. As much as this feels like a Legacy story, it is able to differentiate the difference between this film being a sequel or a soft reboot, and even though the Legacy cast aren't overly used that much, it's nice that even in the 5th installment, more additions to the cast are being done. Even though the plot is grounded enough, I loved how campy this still felt, as if this was made during the 90s. It's never not entertaining and holds the intensity consistently throughout. I've never found this series of films inherently scary, but the creepy atmosphere is the constant that keeps me enticed. Some aspects are totally overdone and are at times quite laughable, but it stays focused on its main goal. Nothing in terms of plot progression feels out of left field, and to have a pace that may be inconsistent here and there, the audience is there to see savage, over-the-top kills, and as much as movies like Halloween Kills deliver some brutal murders, Scream 5 really takes it to an unexpected level of nasty.
And every decade or so, some idiot gets the bright idea to put on the mask, kill his friends, and get famous too. The last time it happened was in 2011.
And I gotta make sure we don't get sliced up by some lunatic who saw Friday the 13th and thought, you know what, that Jason guy, he's got some pretty solid ideas.
The violence and gore is gruesome to watch and therefore is very much in the vein of the Scream franchise, but I loved how the directors also got to put their own touch on the film. Some of Ghostface's attacks being directly taken from sequences in their own horror flick, Ready or Not. As much as they both honour the movies before it, I'm glad that these two guys got to have control of their own vision for a Scream sequel. It's what made the film feel so different to 2, 3, and 4. I feel like what took away so much from this movie is some of the choices in the new cast. I had full hope that after Jenna Ortega's memorable opening scene, that the rest of the new cast members would follow suit, and they're highly recognisable too, from movies like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and In the Heights. However, it just felt like their performances were very weak at times. Another reason as to why I don't think I liked this as much as Scream 4 is because it felt as if the story was trying to achieve new modern heights that hadn't been done before, when in actual fact, Wes Craven had already introduced those concepts in Scream 4. In the end, it could have been much better, so it therefore lacked sometimes in areas that needed strength the most.
There's certain rules to surviving a stab movie. Believe me, I know. Rule number 1, never trust the love interest. They seem sweet, caring, supportive, and then welcome to Act 3 where they're trying to rip your head off. Rule number 2, the killer's motive is always connected to something in the past.
Scream 5 may not be perfect, but it delivers a bloody fun time with excessive violence, an honourable story to continue on Craven's legacy, but also knows how to satisfy the fans. This may not be my favourite sequel out of the franchise, but it's always awesome to see Ghostface being able to come undone and go on one hell of a killing spree. There's a lot to love here, even if it does have its shortcomings, but it's a horror film that gives every single audience member something to enjoy. So I'll give Scream 5 a 7 out of 10. Thank you all so much for watching. Are you going to see Scream 5? Let me know below. As always, be sure to have a look at my previous reviews of King Richard and Ghostbusters Afterlife. This has been Kia's Reviews, signing off for now.
Don't forget to like, follow, and obey.